I'm back with my Schwinn Healy Ridge e-bike that I did a review on maybe a month or so ago. The bike's really good, but there's a couple things that I had to add, and I'm going to continue to make some changes. The first one is the suspension seat post that I added. This really helps out since there's no rear suspension on the bike. This seat post will really help for the rear of the bike to pick up a lot of the a lot of the shock and the bouncing that you'll get, and this really does help. Also, what I did is I added a headlight with a USB recharge. Just got a plug on the side, and it's got the battery built in. It's really bright. It works really well at night. I haven't had a lot of chances to ride it at night because it's been cold, but I have taken it out at night, and it does work really well. I also added my Garmin 520 unit that I had for my other bike. I just got a different holder for it, and then I use that so I can track my rides and do all that sort of thing. So it works. It's a great bike computer. 520, 530, they all work really well. So today what I'm going to do is replace these mechanical, they're cable driven braking system, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to replace it with a new, there you go, hydraulic braking system. So, because these things squeak and they're not very good, you got to squeeze the hell out of them and it still doesn't stop you. It makes a lot of noise. So what these are going to do is, this is going to give us a much better braking system, utilizing either these discs or the disc that it came with. So we'll be installing this, and then we'll do a little test on it. But I think this is going to allow me to go out on a lot of those trails that I just have not been on yet, because I didn't want to go to the point where I had a lot of downhill stuff and trust these brakes, because they just aren't very good. I have another mountain bike, full suspension, but I really wanted to be able to take this out on the trail and just to see how it does. Okay, so this is what's included in the box. Basically, these are the cables with the handles attached, already full of hydraulic brake fluid, and then the calipers for the hydraulic brakes, and then in this are the screws for attaching them, as well as the disc brakes themselves. And I'm going to see what the difference size between what I have here. I think they'll be about the same. The thickness might be a little bit different. I'll check them out, and I might just utilize the same ones I'm using right now just to see if it works any better. If not, I'll switch them out. So we shall see as we go along and install them. I'm going to begin by removing the handles, brake handles, from the bike, starting with this left one for the front. Here's the nut. I think this, I got the bolt out, but I think they slid this over the handlebars with this off. So what I'm probably going to end up doing is just taking this cable off, and I'm just going to pry this down and just pop off the handlebar like this. Worst case scenario, I can cut it. Like I said, I'm not going to be using any of this stuff again. I moved this over a little bit. The controller for the bike, just to get it out of the way of this thing, so when I unscrew it and pop the cable off of here, I can, and sometimes you loosen it enough, you can get it out of here and pop it off of here. But it looks like it's just got a pin, a regular pin in there, and that's not going to let go like that. So I'll go ahead and disconnect it down the bottom, down here, and then I'll have extra. I'll pull this caliper up here. And also loosen this so I'll have the cable at the other end. This size right here. I'll have enough available at the other end so that I can pull the cable out. There we go. Pop this off all the way. These off the caliper. One. Loosen it. Oh, they did have thread locker, and it's only blue, so it's not that strong. Okay, so that's off. Right. Now, if we go up here, we'll have more room available to pop this off. And I can probably just take a screwdriver and pop that off of there. There it goes. Okay, we got that off of there. Unscrew this thing all the way. Just get it completely out of here. Just flew out there. Now, the thing I gotta do is pop that off there. Just do the little cutting tool here. There. Now we can unwrap all this stuff to get the cable off. The cable through here. So it doesn't get stuck on here. Now, don't have to worry about pulling the cable housing through. We just cut the cable. Just pull this through now. Getting the other one in is we need to do some work, but all right. So that one goes through there, comes down there, where I'll just keep that so I can run the new one the same way. So let's get the new one out and see how it looks. Okay, since this one's the short one, I know this is the front one, and it's also the one that fits on the left side. So this is a left front brake. So this is how it's set up. So let me go mount this on the bike, on the handlebars, and we'll go from there. Alright. Comparatively, when you're doing stuff like this, you're trying to mount something, usually you're going to find out there's stuff in the way. Let's go back up this way. Now I can have them down this way like I had them before, like I wanted them, because the handle wasn't set up right. Okay, so I tend to like them down farther, which is fine. I'll just keep it that way. Let's just do that. Just snug it right there for now, and we'll go from there. Okay, I've slipped these new caliper on here, and I'm going to take some of the, just turned it and slipped it on the disc. I'm going to utilize the stock discs first to see how they will hold up, and if I don't like them, I've got the other ones. I can just put them in there. So I'm just going to screw these in to the supports for the caliper, You know, I'm surprised at what's fit so far. So actually, I'm kind of impressed so far. And the fact that these didn't even come with any instructions. Nothing. Not anything. Not that most people couldn't figure it out, but it's just very, I thought it was very funny. So I'm just going to tighten these bolts, and then I'm going to tighten these bolts just to mount them on there. It's tightened. These two hold it on to the forks, and then these two right here hold the bracket onto the caliper. And the old ones were routed through these little tiny holes, and I'm not going to mount these on there because I didn't want to take everything apart. I didn't want to get it separate, so I'm just going to tie a wrap into that. I'm not going to be, even super heavy duty riding is not going to take these out of here. It's just a little bit cleaner install, but this is my secondary fun bike, so I'm not going to be getting too rowdy in it. Well, not that I know of, not to say that I won't, but so what I'll do is I'll just stick them on here, just tighten it up there, and get them on there. And then what I'm going to do is I'll put a secondary one up here, because you can see where I have another one. See, there's another one out here. I just left it in there because I put that on when I first got the bike, because the thing was rubbing on the tire when I would move. So I'm like getting that out of there. So I'll pop this under here, behind it, and then I'll tie it on the top too. I put a couple well-placed black wire ties like right here to hold this together real loose, and then I put another tighter one right here, and I have two of them. One of them I placed right here, one of them I placed right here on that bracket. What you want to make sure is that when you turn the wheel both directions, you're going to watch to where it's at by the tire, that it doesn't hit the tire in any configurations. And when you sit on it, it might change it closer. So when you sit on the bike, it might bring that cable closer, so you might need to tie it up some more on the back one. And what we're going to do is remove the rear caliper first. Oh, you know what? Let's take off this first. Let's take all the tension off the cable, the rear brake cable. This should move that whole thing. I'm taking all this crap off anyways. Okay, now there's cables loose. Now let's take off the brackets that hold the caliper. Take out the brackets that hold the caliper to the bike rear frame. Okay, the rear caliper is disconnected, and now the rear caliper is disconnected. We'll go ahead and take the stop off the end of the cable, just pop it off. Okay, you can see these spots on the frame where it goes through. Like I said, I'm just going to run on the side and just tie wrap it on there, and we'll be good to go. Just like the front brake handle, we're going to have to remove the rear brake handle. Same thing. And I'll end up moving this throttle. I'll move the throttle out of the way. I'll slide it over that way, get it out of the way, so that I can also cut this plastic on this side to get this plastic handlebar clamp off of here. Because the other end is is already loose, I can just pull this whole cable right through the housing all the way out. So that's done. I can just disconnect the cable housing from here, and I'll just cut this. I have the handle for the rear brake now. And install it just like we installed the other one for the front. Just move it down like that because it's going to be pointing down. There we go. I just hugged the throttle for this one. Not too tight because the thing does spin. This, oh, actually the inside spins, so it won't matter. I've loosely tie strapped these, pulling this little yellow spacer out between the brakes, brake pads. I'm sliding it on the disc like I just did, and then I'm lining up the bracket mounts for the brakes. And once I get them locked in like that, then I can just go ahead and put the screws in. They've already got Loctite on them, so you're good to go. And just line them up and screw them in. And get them a little snug, and then go ahead and tighten these that tighten the calipers to the brackets that bolt to the bicycle frame. Actually, this has been a pretty easy setup. I didn't want to order the pieces that were separate, so I'd have to buy a bunch of different adapters in order to route the bicycle brake lines through the frame. I didn't think it was that big of a deal. This isn't, like I said, it's not a super high-end bike, but it'll still look fine, and it'll still work functionally fine. And I want to make sure everything worked on it first before I really put a lot into it. And down the line I decide to get the other kit, then I will. But I've got another bike, my wife's bike, like this to do. So I wanted to get something that functionally worked, and then I can go from there. Okay, that's mounted. It's on the original disc. And so now what I can do is I can figure out the how much play I have in each one of these loops, and then tighten them, and then probably pull it up the front to get most of my whatever I have left over in the front, so that when I turn the handlebars, then I'll have that extra tubing to not bind up. Okay, just got the brakes done. First ride with the brakes done. See how this works. Feels good to be back on the bike. Feels good. See it stop. Oh yeah, definitely. Might take a little while to break these in, but they're definitely working. Definitely working. Feels a lot better. Less drag too. 17 miles an hour, 18, 17 miles an hour. Not working hard. Throw in the last gear, get a little help. Oh yeah. No super squeaking, and no sliding past the point of trying to stop. These brakes are working great. 200, well, probably 500% better than those old ones. Those old ones were basically just squeaking, making a lot of noise, and not really doing much, and I was on it as hard as I could squeeze. These are more like my full suspension bike, and it costs a lot more than this one. And these are, I would trust these brakes going down a hill now. Heck yeah, I would definitely. I'm doing 17.5 miles an hour now. Oh yeah, No problem. No problem.